Welcome to the Geek Homeworld. I am your host, Ed, aka Savage Tech Man. We talk sci-fi, TV, movies, superheroes, and all from a geek perspective. You can find us on Blogger, Google+, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We're everywhere. Join the Geek Homeworld. Hello, everyone. Hello, the world. This is Ed Ciucevich, and I am the host of Geek Homeworld podcast. And joining me once again is Scott Schreiber.
Hey, you can't get rid of me.
I can't get rid of you. We're in this marathon podcasting mode tonight. It's Friday, January 10th, 2020, into the new century, decade, whatever in the heck it is. Yeah, new decade. And we're looking back at 2019. We just did an episode that you'll want to check out. It's, I believe, episode 132, and it's the top 10 films, our top 10 films of 2019. So it's at geekhomeworld.libsyn.com. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on Apple. Anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find the Geek Homeworld. And we've got a lot of great content there, a lot of years worth of content. And so we did the best. We're now going to do the worst.
The worst.
And I dare call these disaster films, but
Yeah.
they sucked really bad at the box office and for other reasons. So
Yeah, not only box office,
Yeah.
but certainly just content-wise. And that really this year, 2019, we didn't really get a lot of great content until like October. You know, we had a
That's true.
few along the way for those first 9 months, and then we really got some great films the last 3 months. But really, it was off to a really rough start. A lot of bad films this year. We're not going to spend as much time on the bad as we did on the good. We're going to
right. This is going to be a short and sweet.
We're only going to do a top
or bitter,
not top, but a bottom five. And
as I drink my manly tea here.
there you go.
Cup of tea. English listeners out there would appreciate it, I suppose. And
But yeah, so we're going to do a bottom five. Some of the ones
bottom feeders.
bottom feeders. Some of the ones that don't make the list but are just there. I mean, Hellboy wasn't very good. Some people would say Dark Phoenix wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I'm one that would say Rambo Last Blood wasn't very good.
I disagree, but that's,
and
it was what it had to be.
We've also got, what else? Curse of La Llorona was pretty terrible.
Which I thought was going to be this big horror flick that I wasn't going to see anyway because it looked scary.
The Kitchen, The Hustle, Ma with Octavia Spencer was terrible. The Goldfinch, which got a lot of what looked like it could have been Oscar.
Yeah, it had that Oscar vibe to it, and boy, it was Oscar Mayer at best.
Awful.
I don't even know. No, nothing against Oscar Mayer, but
there was also Miss Bala, Greta, The Men in Black International was not very good.
And I hate that because Chris Hemsworth's so funny. Him and
Tessa Thompson, that Thor reunion and didn't work.
Yeah.
I thought like the Midway wasn't very good, but there's just not bad. It was bad action. I mean, not bad action, bad actors. And then good visual effects, but still. And it did well at the box office, but just didn't really.
There were some other ones, like, I love even the bad stuff when it comes to Terminator, so I'm not going to not pretend like Dark Fate didn't reach a Dark Fate. And I did predict it, not that it makes me so great or anything, but I knew that Dark Fate would fall upon Terminator, Dark Fate, and Dark Phoenix. Yeah. And wow.
So let's not dwell on that. Let's get right into it. What's our number 5 worst film of the year?
And we're doing this from the less smelly to the most smelliest
to the most
that has stunk up the theaters really bad. Some of these didn't even stay in theaters long. I don't even know if, I think we got most of these, if not all of them. But yeah, let's just jump right in. And we're just doing a top 5. And so
we'll work our way to
Bottom
the worst.
five.
Bottom five. Thank you. I need to say that. So number 5, Child's Play.
Yeah, and this was, I actually kind of had somewhat high hopes for this because I do love horror films, and it had some good comedic actors in it. Aubrey Plaza, Brian Tyree Henry, but boy was it awful. It was just so like, I guess I shouldn't have expected much. It is about a doll that can barely move that's supposedly killing people. So
Well, with all the Blumhouse has done brilliantly and created new horror, and everything was just about everything was part of a franchise or a reboot.
And we really
in 2019.
we certainly need more originality.
And so this was trying, to revive something that worked in the 80s. It was cheesy and campy back then, Chucky and all that. And
I think they tried to go for that campy, but it just didn't land. It was just really laughable, and I think they really did want it to be a horror film.
I remember reading an article online that said there definitely will not be a sequel to this.
Thank you.
And so Child's Play, number 5. And we're not going to spend much time talking about these things because they're really not worth it.
Right. This may be the shortest podcast Ed and I have ever done.
So, it might be the shortest episode we've ever done. We'll see. Hold my Earl Grey tea.
Right. Yeah, we know Ed can talk for forever, but
forever and ever and ever. The next one, because at number 4 is actually going to be 2 films.
Yeah, because Matthew McConaughey had a really bad year.
His reconnaissance it faltered this year.
Yeah, he's kind of going the other way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So this is a combo: Serenity and The Beach Bum. Both were so bad.
Serenity seemed like it would be something really big, science fiction wise, and then Beach Bum seemed like his life story, maybe, or parts of it. And neither of them hit.
Not much story to either one. Serenity just had this ludicrous twist at the end. Anne Hathaway was, when you can have Oscar winners look terrible, look laughable in what's supposed to be, drama, and boy, was this just awful. Serenity just did not hit the mark. And then The Beach Bum, they just tried to be like, it was almost all right. But
was it Captain Ron?
Yeah, he did. He absolutely looked like Captain Ron in it.
That's what I thought.
And they had these just weird cameos from like Snoop Dogg and Jimmy Buffett, and it almost tried to be this.
I feel like everyone got paid on that film. And no one made money.
Oh Lord, yeah, I know it didn't make any money in the box office. So, and I think there behind The Beach Bum was a director, Harmony Korine, I think is her name or his name. But capable of good stuff, but it just didn't land. And man, come on, McConaughey, get it together here.
He was busy selling that alcohol or whatever liquor he's got, and
the Lincoln,
and driving in his Lincoln, which don't drink and drive. But
and now he's got Guy Ritchie has a new film coming out. But
that looks interesting. Here I go again. I thought Serenity was going to be interesting.
Yeah, but it's as I've said before, it's been relegated to the January release, which is usually just the graveyard for films. It's just for bad films, and we'll see, because like Guy Ritchie, it looks like he's going back to his roots, with Snatch and Lock, Stock, and what's it called? Lock, Stock, and Smoking Barrels or something like that.
Something like that.
But I just, after these 2 from McConaughey, I don't have much hope for that. So
yeah, but I'm sure he'll be back.
Right. Hopefully.
Too much. The next one on the list, number 3, is Charlie's Angels. Nobody asked for it.
Yeah.
And
another reboot that, like, I feel like when you're going to do a remake or a reboot, you need to wait probably at least 20, 25 years.
Right.
And no, they waited like, what was it? Maybe 10, or maybe 15. I don't know.
Right.
But nobody asked for it. Poor Elizabeth Banks was trying to defend it and stuck her foot in her mouth
and blamed everything, you know.
Well, she claimed that men didn't want to see women in action movies, and it's
so not true. And there were so many memes about that in 2019 that were like, you know, here's a whole list. We start with Ripley for one, you know, that character, fantastic, one of the best. You know, Sarah Connor. I mean, I'm a Terminator fan, and I mean, you can just keep going. There's a list. Kill Bill. There you go. Yeah.
You know,
it goes on and on. When your movie's not good, it's not good.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter who makes it, and the virtue signaling and the over pushing of the, I don't want to say feminist agenda, and I don't want to get any haters by saying that, but it just pushed things too politically correct.
Well,
I don't want to say
it forced it because it was like it basically came off as every man is evil. Like even Patrick Stewart, you know, is evil, and it's just
and Patrick Stewart's not evil.
No, and it was just like, okay, we get it. You hate men. It just that's what it came off as.
Well, that's a problem I had with some of the Disney trilogy of the Star Wars films. You know, they made Poe look stupid, and you know, you can have a strong female character, but the men don't have to be stupid or appear to be that way.
Also don't think that was the main problem. I think it had casting issues. A lot of people don't really like Kristen Stewart as a leading lady. I think, like, if you see her independent work, she does some pretty good stuff, but I don't know, in this role they were trying to be culturally appropriate and have you know, an Asian woman and a black woman as the other two angels. Yet if you noticed, well, she's Indian, not well, that's Asian, I guess. But if you notice, they're both very fair skinned. They look just as white as Kristen Stewart. So, you know, it's almost like, yeah, we're trying to take a step forward, but we still want you to be fair skinned. So,
well, the thing is, you know, I just think it comes back to things we've said on this podcast before. It doesn't matter really who your cast is, as long as your story is solid. It all starts with the story and how believable those characters are. And it's not a knock on the actresses involved in this. It's not a knock on Elizabeth Banks.
No.
And I would have loved to see this film succeed.
Her work, she, you know, with Pitch Perfect, she did great work.
Oh, heck yeah.
So, you know, and I love her as an actress too.
And just for this whole episode, I want people to understand that we're not trying to down people. We're not trying to. I know it sounds like it, but you know, we know what it's like to work on films that didn't always do so hot.
Well, and it is a lot of hard work.
And there are hardworking people, and
it's so hard to make a film, and so you know, we have to lay that out there.
Right. In all fairness, but yeah, Charlie's Angels was nothing that I was looking for, and nothing that really said, "Oh yeah, I got to see that." I mean, I wasn't happy with the last Charlie's Angels. I mean, I liked the first one, but like Full Throttle, which was I don't know how many years ago.
Well, and it's just, we'll see what's coming this year as far as more remakes and more reboots. We're predicting next week's just Dolittle could be Disney's biggest flop in a while. I don't know.
Dumbo flopped by their terms, but I think it's going to do less than Dumbo. Visually, it looks good. Some wonky special effects in there. Yeah. I really want Robert Downey Jr. to succeed beyond, you know, the Marvel Universe, but I don't think this is the film for him.
Yeah, but again, do we really need another one so soon? Like Eddie Murphy, I think when they rebooted it, it was like maybe 1998, and then they did another film a little later. Yes, that's 20 years ago.
His worked. It worked, and this may work. This could surprise us, but yeah, I've got a bad feeling. Some of the industry,
I just don't think people are going to turn out for it.
Yeah. Some of the industry what's the word I'm looking for?
Prognosticator.
Thank you. They might have changed the word. I'm not sure. Say that, you know, we're looking at a $20 to $40 million opening, which for what's possibly $170 million, 100-ish budget on a million-ish on a film is not good at all. And even internationally, I don't know, it might make something internationally, but yeah, I don't want to see it fail, but I got a bad stinking feeling about that.
Yeah, right.
That. But anyway, so Charlie's Angels was our third worst film of 2019. Number 2, I'm going to let you take this one away. This stunk up the whole house. And
and I don't. You didn't see. Well, first of all, our number 2 is a Medea family funeral.
Yeah.
And I don't. Did you see this one? Or is this just all my opinion?
Actually, I'm going to be straight up transparent. I saw none of these films, okay?
No, you saw Charlie's Angels, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't want to.
Oh, okay.
And so maybe that takes away a little credibility on my part. You saw these films, but
yeah, these are near the bottom.
For me, I didn't even want to see these films, and I've watched stuff about the films, and maybe that's not so fair.
Well, here's my issue with Medea Family Funeral. It was almost just like there was no imagination to the camera work or to the story. It was just juvenile, and I want better from Tyler Perry. I've never been a huge fan of his films, and I guess if you're a Medea fan, maybe you like this movie.
There is a built-in fan base and people that like this film.
I guess. I mean, on IMDb though, it does have a 4.3 rating. So I don't think a lot of people did. It's just there's no imagination here. And it's just like, let's just turn the camera on and not think about like, any kind of camera movements. Let's not be imaginative whatsoever. And it was just bad. I mean, it felt like
I really
there was
feel like
no love, no.
And of course, I didn't see it, so I can say this, right?
Yeah,
but I feel like Tyler Perry's purposely killing Medea, or running it into the ground.
Well, he did say this would be his last one, I think.
Because with the wonderful things that he's done this year in Atlanta and built his 12 stages.
Studio.
He's got a studio, Tyler Perry Studios, fantastic. I mean, we've on my radio show, I've totally applauded them for this and all that. I feel like we're on the cusp of him making some very great films, some great entertainment, much better quality. And I think to have the future, he has to let the past die. And so I think did they kill Medea?
No.
Did she die?
She was
so she could show up.
It wasn't her funeral, unfortunately.
She might even show up for an Oscar to pick up an Oscar for his next film. That would be interesting. But
no, I think he was in what was the Nobody's Fool, which you really loved.
I love that. That was my Tiffany Haddish movie. That's where she was getting out of jail. She was hilarious.
So maybe that's his step in the right direction.
Well, there were so many things he hit on. Like there's Boys to Men. They were playing a song like where she's trying to get the guy back and all that, the other girl or whatever. And so I mean, I was surprised to see Tyler Perry's name on the film, and it definitely feels like the Atlanta vibe, and picked out some Atlanta scenes. So I love that he supports the film industry, especially in Georgia, and marginalized people. He accepts everyone.
Right. So Tyler Perry, if you are listening,
you are a fantastic person. We're
don't hold this against us. We're just being honest.
And we're being honest. It's just a bad film.
Don't not hire us because of this, but
this may be our death sentence. Oh well, but Medea just was DOA.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
And now we get to our biggest stinker of them all, and this should be no surprise, I think, to anybody who's followed anything about film this year. I'm surprised it even came to the theater. It even got a patch added to it, which is something new. What is it? What's the worst film, in our opinion, of 2019? Take it away.
For me, it was Cats.
For me, it stunk so bad I wouldn't go near the theater.
And I warned you to not go see it.
You did warn me, yes.
I did. I'll go see anything, especially with this the A-list. It's
me too.
Because I'm not really spending more money to go see it. So I wanted to have an opinion. I had high hopes for it. It was a Tom Hooper film, who directed the Hugh Jackman Les Miserables, and he also he won an Oscar for The King's Speech. Right. So this is so
it sounded like
it's a very accomplished filmmaker. And to be fair, I had never seen the stage play. I didn't really know what the story was about. And I still don't know what the story is about after seeing it, because there is no story. And that is my biggest problem with this film. It does not translate from the stage to screen.
Yeah.
It just felt like one cat after another. Hold on a second. One cat after another, basically introducing themselves through song for an hour and a half, which basically means the story goes nowhere. It's just like, hi, I'm Mr. Mistopheles or whatever, and then I don't even remember all the names. I'm Jim, and I'm Sandy, and it's just like that for an hour and a half.
It's like one whole scene that just keeps going on.
And the story goes absolutely nowhere. And there's one cat that they ostracize for seemingly no reason. And then at the end, they're like, oh, wait, we feel bad. You're the one going to heaven. So I don't know. There's stuff that maybe I missed because I did not know the stage play.
Right.
But it's also about, like, on the stage play, I know that it was a lot about the dancing. And then I think that gets lost.
Well, the costumes worked versus the CGI, which is what.
Great point.
When I saw the first trailer for it, the CGI, I was like, "What?" I don't know what that is, but I was repulsed by it.
Very off-putting.
It was very off-putting. It was very just. And I'm sure it's good CGI, but it's not good CGI.
What was funny was they had the one patch they had to make was like Judi Dench's hand, where it's like her hand was not covered with fur or anything. It was like her with her ring on. And
I heard about that.
So there was stuff like that where they're like, oh God, we got to fix this. So they rushed it to the theaters.
So somebody left the Starbucks coffee cup in the scene, basically.
Exactly.
Another Game of Thrones.
And it's not like it didn't have big stars either. I mean, good Lord.
Oh my gosh,
you got Taylor Swift in there, which was supposed to draw a lot of people to it, but the reviews were terrible.
It just, the look of it was so, either it's so avant-garde that it's the best thing ever, or it just really is it looked like freaky, crazy trash that I had no interest in.
And I wasn't really impressed by the music that much either. It was like there's basically two songs. Obviously, Memories is the one.
Was that Jennifer Hudson?
Yes,
that did that?
And she sang it really well, of course.
Singer.
And then there was the Magical Mr. Mistopheles is a catchy tune too, and that was actually played by Robert Pattinson. And so you had them. You had Judi Dench and Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
You had James Corden,
who have great theater backgrounds.
Yes, so there was some promise, and God, it just didn't deliver. It was.
Yeah.
I definitely felt like I wasted 2 hours of my life, and there are movies that I enjoy that I'm sure that other people said that they wasted 2 hours, and that it was said.
I enjoyed Terminator: Dark Fate, and there's more than a majority of box office people did not, and I still enjoyed it. I still love it, regardless. Even the bad stuff, even the bad ones, which is most of them.
Yeah, I mean, and this is subjective. Keep in mind, it's personally, having worked on, I didn't want to mention this on the worst show, but
you don't have to.
No, I will, because the script was pretty bad, and that was Gemini Man, and the script was pretty bad, but the CGI or the 3D and the visual effects were so groundbreaking that
they were spectacular.
That I could not possibly put it on this list.
Now, let's say, had Cats done something of that level or close to that level.
Yeah,
it might have been a different. It might have been a different situation. But what Ang Lee did is he's a phenomenal filmmaker. Fantastic cinematographer. I mean, his visual eye, I always say that, but like Life of Pi is probably definitely one of my top films, probably of all time. I mean, because I'm a visual person, so I totally love that.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Gemini Man is going to go down as one of the biggest box office flops of the year.
Yeah.
I think it might have worldwide maybe made his money back, but it probably lost money, unfortunately.
The ambition of Ang Lee to try to get the cinemas, kind of like what George Lucas always did when he put a Star Wars film out, he advanced the technology, and that's where, I think Ang Lee was more into that than taking a 20-year-old script that really felt like it was from the 90s.
It did.
Yeah, it really did. And I well, you know more than I do. There were a lot of hardworking people on that film. And,
absolutely. I mean, and it really was groundbreaking, the visual effects that they used.
We just aren't ready for it yet, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, and we had to go to Bluffton, South Carolina, which is up the road from us,
to see it. And it wasn't even in the format that Aang wanted, but it was the closest to.
Right. I mean, we had IMAX theater where it was playing, and it wasn't still. It was like what, 60 frames at 2D or something.
Yeah, we saw it. Well, I don't even know if the IMAX was 64 frames per second. The one we saw was.
Yeah, and it was in 3D, and it looked visually stunning. It looked like a ViewMaster that I used to have as a kid, and
easily the best 3D I saw all year.
Yeah, and it's a shame though. It's a shame because you can't compare the two films. That's why we don't have it on our worst list, Gemini Man, even though it's a box office dud. But, you know, Will Smith, his charisma alone can almost carry a film, you know? And I'll show up for a Will Smith film anytime. Cats, if it's like this, if they can fix it and like redo it, you know,
well,
maybe I'll go see it.
You can't fix the story. You can fix the visual effects all you want, but you can't fix the story.
Just the visual effects put me off so bad that I didn't get to the story. And I know what the story is about, basically, and I don't know how close it actually went to the execution of what the actual theater thing. But, you know, the costumes work where CGI just didn't, you know. Mm-hmm. Wow. So, I don't know where to go except to say...
We say...
Goodbye.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you know, let us know if you disagree with these or what... Or
Geek Homeworld.
Yeah, or let us know what your worst films of the year
Yeah, we want to know what your worst films are. And maybe they were some of the ones we've listed, especially our top 5. Anyway, I'm looking forward to like 2020, and I think there's going to be less blockbustery, less reboots. I'll probably take that back. I'm just dreaming again.
Yeah,
I want original content.
It's wishful thinking, but unfortunately, that's just the way most of these films are going. They want to bank, you know, do something that's bankable. They think
people are going to jump on it. Just because it's from the 80s doesn't mean it's worth reviving.
Yeah,
Child's Play and
yes, exactly. Sometimes you can knock it out of the park. I have high hopes for, say, like Ghostbusters.
Like Halloween worked when they rebooted it with Jamie Lee Curtis and all that. Loved it, and that's in the script. You know, it's in the script.
Make sure that
it starts with the script. It doesn't matter what your politics are, what your you know, political correctness or vice versa or whatever. It starts with the story, and as long as it serves the story, then and the story is solid, then the rest of your film has potential to be good. So enough about the bad. This is depressing me. There's nothing good to say.
Go listen to our best of 2019.
Yeah, the episode preceding this. So anyway, this is our top 5. We didn't even bother to go top 10 on this. In detail, that is. Our top 5 worst films of 2019. Anyway, I'm Ed. Ciucevich along here with Scott Schreiber. Thank you, Scott, for joining me once again.
Absolutely.
And that's the end, thankfully. Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Geek Homeworld with your host, Savage Tech Man. You can find us on Libsyn, Google+, follow and interact with us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, listen to us on iTunes and leave a review, subscribe to us on YouTube, read our thoughts on Blogger. See you again on the Geek Homeworld.